Hi and welcome to the Beer Temple. I am Chris Quinn coming at you from my store here in Chicago, the Beer Temple, doing things just a little bit different today. I've got a new mic. I've been holding out on the little lav mics that you can maybe or maybe not see here. Decided to give it a try. Used lavs in the past, but I don't know. Hopefully the sound is at least as good, which is at best, or ideally a little bit better. Moving on, today I have three beers from Tampa Brewery, Cigar City. We've had a couple of their beers on in the past. We've had the Hunapoo, which is their chili stout. We've had the Bolita Brown, which is an imperial brown, and maybe some others. I'm starting to lose track after 200 some odd episodes here. Today we're just going to do three of them right across the board, three beers that walked in at different times here in the store, and figured, why not just give them a shot right now. I've got two IPAs, each with a kind of an interesting little twist to them, and then a fruited sour from them. A little tiny bit of history on Cigar City. Been around a little while now, I think 7 years plus perhaps. I should probably have looked that up. I think they opened up in 06, 07, something like that. I really should know that before I just start spouting out information. My apologies, but you guys are very good at catching me and updating me on the accurate information that I don't have off the top of my head. I probably should do some research, but I digress. So three beers. The first is their Hopped on the High Seas. They call this a Caribbean style IPA. This is basically an ongoing IPA series that Cigar City is doing, where they're using a single hop each time. This is the fourth batch that they've done, and it's with, I don't know if you would call it an experimental hop, but it's a hop that has not yet officially been put out in the market, has not been given a name yet. It is just hop number 529. There are so many hops out there, just a very small fraction of them actually make it to production or to viable commercial status. Citra was around years and years and years before it actually ever made it to production. Started out as a Miller Brewing hop. They're the ones who actually financed Citra. So next time you poo-poo Miller Lite or MUD or something like that, remember, there would be no zombie dust without Miller Lite. But I'm digressing for a second time now. Cigar City Brewing, Tampa, Florida. They are very much a darling of the craft beer geek. I think what I notice about them is a little bit of kind of that culinary experimental thing that you see in like a Dogfish Head or a Shorts or something like that, where they're experimenting with just different elements of the brewing process. Yeah, everybody uses cherries in their beer, let's use guava. Everybody oaks their stouts, let's oak an IPA. A little hint of things to come. Experimenting with hops that probably haven't been used many times, if ever, before. So just kind of cool that they go out and just try different things. They don't have many straightforward beers well, I guess they do, but they just try different things. They age things not just in oak, but in rum barrels is one of the things that they've tried. Being down there in Florida, there's a lot of rum that gets made down in that part of the world. So why not come up with a somewhat Florida-centric way of barrel aging something? I think that's really cool. I want to have some regional personality in the beers that we drink today. It's so easy to just make a German Helles anywhere in the world at this point, or any style. So I love it when people go out of their way to try to bring some of the local culture into their beers. So we will start with the Hopped on the High Seas, Hop 529. I've done basically no research on any of these. I just did check the date on it. It is, let me see, about 5 weeks old, so we're looking very fresh. Another, I guess, kind of apology. I am not, I guess, using strictly proper glassware, but for a tiny little pour, I thought a snifter would be just fine. Kind of concentrates the aromas down into my schnoz so I can give you a nice, good nose whistle that you guys love me for. So anyway, hopped on the high seas. This is a fairly clear, little bit tiny bit of haze here. Nice amount of foam on the top as well. Where was I? I think I was looking at the color of the hopped on the high seas, the Caribbean style IPA. The head has dissipated just a little bit, but I think I was saying it's a nice kind of golden orange color. Now, for being fairly fresh, quite fresh, I would say, 5 weeks old, it's not overwhelmingly hop forward aromatically speaking. I do get some biscuit and some malt. Then again, I have found that Cigar City pales tend to be quite balanced. I'm getting a honeyed note to it. Just checking that it's not. And now that I sort of dive a little bit deeper in, I'm getting a green, like melon-like note, maybe a bit of cucumber, hints of spice, like a pepper, but like a mild pepper, like a white pepper, something like that. Nice, nice, very subtle. A very delicate aroma. When I drink it, the hops become more prevalent more quickly than when I was just smelling it. This beer is quite bitter. It seems to me like this Hop 529 has decent aromatic qualities, but is also quite high in alpha acids, which are converted to form the bittering isoalpha acids in beers. And it reminds me almost of has a noble character to it. And by that I mean kind of German noble hops. Far more bitter than I would typically expect from a noble hop. But if you use enough, who knows? Yeah. Everything quite balanced. The hop aroma and the mid-palate bitterness and the malt are really well balanced. The finishing bitterness is quite aggressive though, a bit bitter for me. I'd want some fatty food with this to kind of cut through some of that bitterness. And as I open up, I do like that delicate aroma more and more. Definitely a 6-pack beer. For me, a bit too bitter, but if you like, kind of a little bit of a tongue scraper in terms of your pale ales, I think this would definitely be a nice 6-pack beer. Drinks fairly well. I think it was in the 6% range. And I don't know, I was trying to go in the right order, but this beer is quite aggressive, and I hope it did not throw off my palate for the next beer, which is another IPA aged in American oak. This is White Oak India Pale Ale. American oak is known for having a lot of vanilla character, a lot of coconut character, depending on the toast level. This one seems like it doesn't have a big level of char. I'm getting just straight wood grain, wood, kind of like a lumber yard if you smell a piece of cut wood, minus that kind of burnt note that you sometimes can get from wood as it's being like right after it's cut. And definitely like a delicate herbal note too, almost like fennel or something like that, or yeah, oak. Certainly some vanilla or some sappy, oaky, woody qualities to it. And it's some vanilla. It's not a big, unctuous vanilla note to it. We're gonna stop again. No, we're not. Take that. Sorry guys for doing this while the store's open, but what are you gonna do? I dig this nose. It's really, really nice. I mean, it's all about the oak here. I get some level. This is about 6 weeks old, a little bit older, but still, you know, you're definitely gonna get some of these hop aromatics here. I do get some underlying bready caramel malt note to it, but first and foremost is this white oak, although not so pungent that it completely dominates everything and it almost like attacks your nose. It's not that much. And I do like that, I keep pulling it away. I do like that nice herbal note to it. And I say herbal and it can mean a million things. It's not like the basil. It's more like a, not even thyme, it's like a fennel or like a chive. Chive is a little too oniony. Like a dill, something like that, like, you know, kind of a lighter herb. Yeah, definitely like a light oak juice to it. Less bitter than this. Maybe a hint of tannin from the wood, kind of drying your mouth out. You know, it's called astringency when it kind of sucks the moisture out. The tannins from the wood can tend to do that. I love that a beer that's this delicate can so easily be over oaked. You could very quickly over oak a beer like this, and that hasn't happened. It's right on the border. It's quite oaky, but I wouldn't say it's over oaked. I'd be curious to try this beer like a day or two old to see how much these hops have fallen off. Again, Alai I find to be nice and balanced for the most part. I would like a little bit more hop character to it. The hops have definitely dropped off. I don't know if they do a secondary hop edition because they're taking some time to oak age it or not, but it's solid. Let me go back and rate both of these beers. You know, my own personal means nothing, could change any day I taste it rating system. As you guys know, if you watch me enough, I rate everything almost exactly the same. But I'd probably go 89 on both these, maybe 88. I'll go 88 actually. They're fine, not necessarily something I would reach for, but kind of cool and different, and I certainly think that is worth something, especially if it's executed well. And I think both these beers are executed well. It's just not to my personal preference. All right, moving on to the final beer from Cigar City. This one not in a can, as you can see. This is their Lactobacillus Guava Grove Sour Ale brewed with guava. Again, they're taking some of these local fruits that are a little bit more native to, you know, the warmer climate and using that rather than cherries, which grow, you know, up here in the, you know, northern Midwest, Great Lakes region, and other places as well. Don't know too much about this beer. Does it say anything about it? Yeah, let's just read it right here. Okay. It looks like they did a sour wort with Lactobacillus. It looks like they pitched or kind of pitched or added some grain to the wort to get some infection going, a controlled infection. Some people have been doing kind of a sour mash, which can get out of control. A lot of brewers have found a little bit more consistency and controllability when dealing with the Lactobacillus bacteria when doing a sour wort, which is you make your wort, then you sour it with some lacto, and then you kill the lacto by boiling it. So you achieve a certain pH level, a certain acidity level, then you boil it and kind of keep it there. And then from that point on, you pretty much use a sterile environment. Very similar color to the hop on the high seas, kind of an orange, hazy orange, not as clear as the high seas, but a really nice looking color, almost like a juice, like an unfiltered nectar of some kind, and a really nice fine bubbled head on here that just kind of sticks around. Nice looking beer here. Smells very nice. Let me see what I got. who's blowing me up. I don't know who that is. I will call them back. Really nice, clean flavor. Sometimes when brewers use a lot of lactobacillus, I start getting a little bit of like stinky foot, or it can even go into like a pukey smell to it quite quickly. But this is clean. This is fruity and clean. It's got a nice, bright, lemony note to it. A hint of like a clean, dairy, yogurty thing. And this is a lactic acid. And a beautiful tropical aroma on top of it. I get exactly what the namesake implies I should get. I'm getting a nice clean sour, and I'm getting some wonderful fruit here. You know, given this blind, I would say there's lacto in here, there's fruit in here. Really wonderful, perfumey, floral, tropical notes. Like, I don't know what a guava, if a guava tree has big blossoms or what they smell like, but in my mind, they would smell something like this. And a nice base malt too, maybe a little wheat in there, something very nice. Oh, delicious. Really nice. Balanced. There's some sweetness in here. And you can achieve some of the sweetness in these beers by doing this sour wort, where if you pitch lacto late, or other bacterias or wild yeasts late, they can start just going to town and eat up every single sugar in the beer. If you look at some of these traditional Belgian lambics or gueuse, that's what happens. They become bone dry because given enough time, these bacteria will just chew through almost anything. But since you sterilize the beer after it's been soured, you can retain some of this sweetness here. And the result is almost like a nice tart guava, but still has the sweetness of a ripe guava. It's kind of the best of both worlds. Clean, really nice, slick mouthfeel. Like it tastes like you're drinking one of those little cans of fruit nectar. How it's got that almost like fairly thick, viscousy mouthfeel to it. You're getting that here a little bit as well. A lot of sours, because there's no sugar, there's no body in the beer, they're very watery tasting. They're very thin-bodied. This one's a little bit more full. It gives it the appearance of some sweetness as well. I think a lot of times when you're getting a bigger, chewier beer, you just equate that with some sweetness. And there is certainly some sweetness here as well, even in the nose. You're getting sweet and sour. Really well done. Not oversweet. Not oversweet, but not over tart. It's not burning my esophagus as it goes down. Really delicious. I could drink this with a lot of really nice light foods, like maybe even some fish, but I'm thinking more along the lines of greens and salads and stuff like that. But really, really well done. Cleanly made. And an impressive beer. I'm going to go 95 for this beer, 96. I think this is really, really exceptional. Yeah, let's go 96. I went a little low on these guys, 88, 88, and 96 for the Lactobacillus Guava Grove. And thank you to everybody who donated these beers here. I very much appreciate the ability to try them myself and discuss these beers and kind of experience them for the first time, kind of on camera, and kind of talk through what I'm tasting here. And then in addition, whoever's in the area at the time gets to taste these beers as well. And a lot of times they think very differently of these beers than I do. That's something that you guys don't get to see, is I may say, I'm not really into this beer, taste it out in the store, and people are loving it and asking where they can get it. So, that's really great. I love not kind of disclosing my hand when I've tasted a beer for a show like this and then have it open in the store. I let you guys taste it first and then see what you think, because first and foremost, that's what matters. Who cares what I think? There you have it, guys. Thanks so much. Sorry again for the interruptions. Hope the audio was decent. But we've got some really fun stuff from Cigar City. Some to my liking, some not to my liking as much, but all kind of cool, well concepted beers that have been executed fairly well too. So without further ado, I am going to get going, get on with my day. Guys, thank you so much. I'm going to give myself a relatively healthy pour of the Guava Grove from Cigar City, one of the more interesting and well done American sours I've had in quite a while. Thank you guys so much as always. Until next time, I'm drinking some great beer, and I hope that you are too. Cheers.